Welcome to Introduction to Table Configurations, presented by AssetWise Avara Performance Management. After completing this module, you will know how to open and work with table configurations, manage table configurations, filter and sort data in a table, use the quick search functionality in APM, and export tables to Microsoft Excel.
Introduction to table configurations.
There are several benefits in the use of configurations. They reduce the need for user customizations. They allow organizations to group and sort data in a way that suits their needs. Configurations allow end users to define and sort their data as they want to see it. And configurations reduce the need for technical support during upgrades. Tables in APM display information about objects, such as assets or standard tasks. Every table in APM includes a configuration. Configurations control the information that is displayed. Tables consist of rows and columns that show data for many items at once, so you can find items or specific pieces of data and track trends. Many tables can include more than one configuration, with each configuration displaying different data. Table configurations allow changes, both permanent and ad hoc, to columns, filters, sorts, search criteria, and formatting. You can choose from existing APM table configurations and also create new table configurations to show the data you want to see. Use a combination of column filtering and sorting criteria and formatting choices that display specific data. For example, you may have a table configuration that shows all work requests with the status of new. There are 4 types of configurations. APM configurations are delivered with the APM application. There is at least one configuration for each table. All configurations are available to all users unless the administrator has used security settings to restrict access. An APM configuration displays the APM logo. Customer configurations are created by an administrator for an organization. They are listed in the lists of configurations for all APM users when they are created, but each user can choose to keep them or remove them from the list. You must be running as an administrator to create customer configurations. A customer configuration is displayed with a red shirted person icon. Personal configurations are used by only one employee or one APM login. Only the person who creates them can view, edit, or delete them. Personal configurations are created by APM users running with end-user privileges. A personal configuration is displayed with a green-shirted person icon. Ad hoc configurations are those that are created or modified by an APM user, but which are not saved. An example of this is a standard APM configuration that has been filtered to show specific data only.
Managing configurations.
You can set the default configuration that appears when you view a table and organize the configuration list by adding and removing configurations or changing their order. Click the drop-down arrow in the title of the currently displayed configuration to see all of the available configurations for the table. Click the Configuration button to open a configuration menu. Then select Organize to open an Organize configuration dialog. The configurations are shown in sequential order. To change the order in which the configurations appear in the configuration list, click a configuration and then click Move Up or Move Down until the configuration is in its new sequence. A check mark is shown beside the default configuration. To change the default configuration, right-click a configuration and select Mark as Default. If you click Remove on a configuration that you did not create, the configuration is only removed from the list that you see. Other users will still be able to access the configuration. However, if you click Remove on a configuration that you created, the configuration is permanently deleted. There may be configurations already created for a table that do not appear in the list of configurations. To find them and add them to the list, from the Organize Configurations dialog, click Browse. Place a check beside each configuration that you want added to the list. Creating a configuration. The easiest way to create a new configuration is to base it on an existing configuration that is a close match to what you want. For example, you might find an existing configuration has the columns that you want to see, but they're not filtered in the way that you want. You can easily copy an existing configuration and then edit it to suit your purposes. Each configuration must have a unique title, so you must provide a new name for your configuration, perhaps by adding your initials at the end of the configuration title.
Click OK on the configuration dialog. Then, on the table, select the configuration you've created and view the results.
You can also create a configuration from scratch. This is a slightly more advanced topic which is covered in another module. Making ad hoc changes. Ad hoc configurations are temporary changes to a configuration that are not saved. You can make ad hoc changes to the configuration you are viewing, including changing what columns appear and in what order, changing the filtering criteria, changing the sorting criteria, and changing column formatting and grouping. Ad hoc changes do not change the properties of the table configuration. The configuration will return to its previous appearance the next time you view it. To make ad hoc changes, view the table configuration that you want to change, right-click the column you want to change, and then select the appropriate menu item to make the required changes. Changes are not saved in the table configuration.
If you want, you can update the current configuration with all of the ad hoc changes you have made. To save ad hoc changes, view the table configuration you want to change and make the appropriate changes. In the configuration list, select Save. The open configuration will be updated with all of the ad hoc changes. You can save ad hoc changes as a new configuration. The configuration that was open when you began making the changes will not be altered. To save ad hoc changes as a new configuration, view a table configuration and make the appropriate ad hoc changes. In the configuration list, select Save As. The Save As dialog appears. Type a name for the new configuration and then click OK. The current table configuration will be saved under the new name. Filtering and sorting. Columns and tables can be sorted and filtered so that the data is presented in the way that you want. To apply a sort to a table, simply right-click the column to sort and select a Sort Ascending from the first record to the last, or Sort Descending from Z to A, or the last record down to the first. A triangle icon appears in the column header when a sort has been applied. To filter a table column, right-click the column header and then select Filter by Column. A Filter by Column dialog opens. In the status area, select the value and condition to use for the filter. For example, you might want to filter an indicator list to show only the inspection indicator type. A funnel icon appears in the header of the column that is filtered. Let's filter a second column. In this case, we will filter for the indicator names that end with roller. You will notice that the filter applied to the first column, the indicator type, is still in place. This ad hoc configuration now displays only indicators for rollers that are of the visual inspection type. If you were to close this configuration now, the sort and filters that you have applied will be lost. If this is not what you want, there are several choices. Save the configuration with the changes made, or save the configuration with a new title. In this case, you will save the configuration. The configuration title is not changed, but the configuration type has changed from an APM configuration to a personal configuration, as seen by the icon beside the configuration title. If you want to discard the changes, click the configuration button and select Revert. Click Yes on the message that appears. The original configuration is restored. More complex filtering and sorting methods are covered in an advanced table configuration topic. The quick search bar. You can use the quick search bar to filter a list of items in a table. The search is based on text strings contained in one or more columns in a configuration. You cannot search columns that contain dates, currency amounts, or value lists. You can select which columns to include in the search. For example, in a list of assets, you can use a quick search to locate assets with the word motor in the description and type columns. Let's see how that is done. Navigate to the table and configuration you want to search. Enter a search item in the quick search bar. To select the columns to include in the search, click the drop-down arrow beside the search icon. From the search list that opens, click each column to include. A check mark appears beside each column that is selected. You can click a column to clear it from the search list. Click the search icon to display the records where the search item was found. To search again, enter a new word in the quick search bar. To clear the search and return to the default configuration, delete the text from the quick search bar and then click the search icon. Most tables include a quick search bar. This is set up in the table configuration. The quick search bar can be turned on or off for each table configuration. On smaller lists, as an example, you may want to hide it to save space. To turn the quick search bar on or off, you must first open the configuration. Select the Appearance tab. Place a check beside Show Search Bar to have it displayed, or clear the check mark if you want to have it turned off. Click OK to save the changes and close the configuration dialog. You can also specify which columns to include on the quick search. By default, when the quick search bar is turned on, all text string columns are made available to search. Let's see how you can include or exclude columns in a quick search. To begin, open the configuration that you want to work with. On the Columns tab, double-click the column you want to edit. The Column Properties dialog opens. Click the Search Bar tab. Select the settings that you want. Select the Make this column available for search bar searches if you want to add this column to the list of columns that can be searched from the quick search bar. Clear the option to remove the column from the search list. Select the Search this column by default option if you want the column to be searched by default when you run quick searches. If there are many text string columns in a table, you may only want to search one or two. If a column is not set up as a default, you will have to manually select the column when using the quick search bar. Exporting tables to Microsoft Excel. Many APM views contain lists of items in tables. For example, the Asset Listing tab shows a list of all assets at the site. The Work Orders tab shows a list of open work orders. You may want to work with this information outside of APM, perhaps for a report or a presentation. Exporting a table to an Excel spreadsheet allows you to do this. To export a table to Excel, open the view that contains the table you want to export. Right-click the table and click Export to Excel. The system exports the information to a new Excel spreadsheet with the same columns as the APM table. Let's summarize what you have learned. By completing this module, you now know how to open and work with table configurations. You know how to manage table configurations. You can filter and sort data in a table, and you know how to use the quick search functionality in APM. You also know how to export tables to Microsoft Excel. This concludes the introduction to table configurations.